All right. Hi there. How are you doing? How's it going with you? I'm super excited that you're here with me doing today's podcast with me. Today is officially the last day of the month of June, and I am excited that you had the opportunity to go through this podcast and watch every single podcast with me. Well done, and thank you so much. I am glad and I'm super duper proud of you. Well done, and well done. Now, to today's class, we started a conversation yesterday, and then it led us to actually now become and begin to ask ourselves certain questions. And what was that question? We began to ask ourselves, what is goal setting and why is goal setting necessary? So let's begin this conversation. Goal setting involves developing what we call an action plan in order to motivate and guide you as a person or as a group towards a goal. Goals are more deliberate than desires and momentary intentions. And so the distance between what you desire to do or what you intend to do to what you can actually do is your goals, because your goals means that you've committed your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior, and your actions towards achieving the goal. And so that you are rightly postured to be able to achieve the very goals that you want to achieve. In fact, I saw a definition that I believe is so beautiful. The definition says that goal setting is a purposeful and explicit process that starts with you identifying a new objective, skill, project that you want to achieve, then you making a plan to achieve it and work towards the completion. And so it's not just wishful thinking, it's not just emotional desires, but it actually involves you putting in what you need to put in to achieve what you need to achieve. All right, so let's get going. Why is it important that you set goals? When you set goals, it provides you with focus and it gives you direction. For us here at KMGA, it's our year of focus, and by setting certain goals, we have been able to discern what we want to achieve and actually begin to do the work towards achieving them, and not just dreaming about things, but doing the commensurate actions required to achieve them. And then when we begin to set goals, we now have clear direction of the things that we want to achieve. For example, if I want to travel from Abuja to Lagos and I want to go by air, if I set a goal of, okay, I'm going to do this before the end of July, and then if I now decide how am I going to go there, I'm going to go by air. And so that means researching airfare tickets, understanding air times, air flight times, knowing how to get from my house to the airport. When I begin to set those goals, okay, since I want to travel before the end of July, maybe buy my ticket before the middle of July. So now I've given it a date. Then I'll go and begin to research what flights travel from Abuja to Lagos. You see, in the process of that, in me setting goals and giving myself a deadline, I begin to proactively take steps that will lead me towards the end results that I intend to achieve. And one of the things that goal setting personally does for me is that it makes me aware not just of the destination, but it allows me to smell the roses as I journey. For example, flying, right? My first flight experience, for example, if it is, it's not though, but if it was my first flight experience, I would come out and tell you all about my first flight and how I came down from an aircraft and how I felt putting on a seatbelt and during the takeoff and the landing, probably. You see, that's the experience. I'm not just excited to go to Lagos, that I don't smell the roses of, okay, how did I raise the funds for my travel? How did I raise the funds for where I stayed when I traveled? You see, things like that, these little things, they all matter, because all of a sudden we're not just looking at life from the lenses of what can be and what could be, but now I'm looking at life holistically, knowing how that my actions actually affect my outcomes. My consistent, continuous actions will lead towards an outcome. And one of the books that I will encourage you to read is Atomic Habits. I don't know if it was one of the assigned books, I just can't remember. But if it wasn't, please do your best to read the book. Read the book, and it will definitely help you as regards goal setting. What's another reason why we set goals? We set goals because it keeps us moving. It significantly benefits our ability to organize. When we set goals, we create a vision for what we want our lives, our businesses, or whatever it is that we're trying to build to look like. And then we begin to push ourselves and our teams to get the best result possible. The best possible result. And that is one thing that is so attuned to the goal process, is being able to achieve the best results possible, see the best goals possible, understand the best outcomes possible. How do we set goals? Number one, realize that in setting goals, it forces you to stop and think about the journey and does not just focus on the destination. And so, to set goals, the first thing that you do is think about the results that you want to see. What do you want to see? Take a closer look at what you're trying to achieve and ask yourself some questions like, is this something that I really want? Number one. Number two, is it important enough for me to pour in hours of time and effort into it? So that it's not just a wishful thinking or dream that I'm trying to achieve just like that, but now I'm being purposeful and taking gradual steps towards the achievement of my goal, towards the very achievement of the dream that I desire to achieve. And so we see now that it's no longer just an emotional effort, that it becomes something that we are proactively doing to attain, to achieve the very things that we want to achieve, right? And so that is extremely important that we come into this reality and this understanding and ask ourselves these very questions. If you're not willing to put in the time, then it may not be worth pursuing. And remember that if you're going to create a long list of goals that you want to pursue at once, you may have a very difficult time actually achieving anything. And so I encourage you, especially when you're starting out, to take it one goal at a time. Once you decide what you want, the second thing is for you to create SMART goals. What are SMART goals? SMART goals are specific ways that you can set your goals to allow you to track your progress and ensure that you met the goal. The SMART goals is set up in such a way that it's not just wishful thinking, but deliberate actions are put in place for you to know if you're making progress and if you've gotten to your destination. Because sometimes we may not actually be able to articulate what destination looks like for us. And so even when we get there, we may not recognize. And sometimes we may be so carried away by the big picture that we do not celebrate the little steps. In SMART goals, we're able to celebrate the little steps that takes us to through our intended outcome, to our intended possibility, our intended framework, and our intended pictures that we want to live. Number one, let your goals be specific. Don't just say that I want to lose weight. You can say something like, I want to lose 25 pounds by the 4th of July. You see, that's a specific weight. There's 25 pounds. 25, it means that it's specific. Number two, let it be measurable. How? Because if I do not know how to measure what I'm trying to achieve, I can take no steps and determine that I have actually taken steps. So let your goals be measurable. For example, I want to lose weight versus I want to lose 25 pounds. That means that I begin to check what I'm weighing right now, and then by the 4th of July, I can now check my weight again and see if I have lost 25 pounds by the 4th of July. Now, that's wishful thinking, but I can actually begin to take actions towards it, begin to take steps towards it. So let your goals be specific, let your goals be measurable. What is the A in SMART? Let it be attainable. Don't build castles on the clouds. Don't try to do impossible things in an impossible amount of time. Be realistic. I understand the place of faith. I understand the place of believing God. But at the same time, I want us to apply wisdom to our buildings. This is not discouraging you to dream big or to go big or to try big things. This is not a discouragement in any way, shape, or form. But this is me trying to get you to see from the lenses of God, understand from the lenses of God, see what God is trying to build in your life and participate in it. Don't just build houses on castles and expect everybody to fall into line with you. Actually begin to ask questions. Is this possible? It's like trying to build a skyscraper in 6 months. I don't think it's ever been done because just the foundation alone will take that amount of time because the foundations of a skyscraper will take long. So, while even if you work day and night, you may not achieve that. And so, create realistic goals. We understand the helps of the Spirit. It is better that you underpromise and overdeliver than you overpromise and experience the disappointment of not attaining your goals. So let your goals be attainable. Number three is still the same. Let it be realistic. Make realistic goals. Do not try to build castles in the cloud. Do not attempt to build castles in the cloud. Let your goals be realistic. Be real. Look at your environment. Look at your current situation. I believe in miracles, but I also believe in being realistic and rightly appropriating where I am to determine if where I'm going to go to it's possible. I begin to ask myself questions and look at trends to see if what I'm building is going to work out in the interim or in the long term. I'm going to begin to ask myself questions to see if my decisions will impact or influence outcomes in any way, shape, or form if I don't do the right thing. And so in the bid to do the right thing, I'm going to begin to push, I'm going to begin to stretch myself, I'm going to begin to dream bigger dreams. However, I'm going to look at my environment, I'm going to study my possibilities and see is this goal realistic? For example, if I want to lose 25 pounds between now and the 4th of July, it may not be so realistic. 10 pounds seems more attainable than 25 pounds, right? And so if I put in a lot of work, I can lose between 10 to 15 pounds. 25 pounds is overreaching. So what do? I push for 10 pounds. If I'm able to do more, I will be able to be encouraged instead of feeling discouraged that I did not achieve what I intended to achieve at the time slated for it. Number five, let it be time bound. Give a specific time. Don't just say before the end of the year. Before the end of the year is not a time. Sometime is not a time. Before the end of the year is not a time. We need to be able to actually look and say, okay, this is something that I need to do. This is how I need to do it. This is what I need to do. And this is how I can actually achieve what I need to achieve. And this is going to be a propelling force for you to begin to take actions. For example, shooting this video, I told myself I had to finish it before the 1st of June, which meant that I needed to rearrange my time, rearrange my schedule, and ensure that I shot all the necessary videos at the time that I intended to shoot them. And today is not yet 1st of June, and I'm done shooting these videos. Why was I able to do that? Because I set SMART goals. I set specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound goals. I set up those goals and then I began to break them down and put them in smaller chunks that allowed me to achieve. For example, on my video shooting days, I could decide to shoot 4 or 5 of these videos to ensure that I was done at the time I said I will be done, to ensure that at the time that is expected of me, I am no longer now going to start rambling and looking for what to be done, or at the time that it needs to be achieved, it will be achieved. And so that is that about the SMART goals. Number three about your goals is write your goals down. Write your goals down. Your goals remain very vague if they consistently live in your head. Your goals remain extremely vague if all you do is build these castles in your head. You need to be able to write them down. And when not just write them down, keep them somewhere visible. Keep them somewhere that will consistently remind you daily that you need to do something towards the completion of your goals and not just be emotionally driven and excited to see the vision or your goals come to pass, but you're actually being proactive, you're taking steps, you're doing things to ensure that the results that you desire, you see it. And then number four, create an action plan. Create an action plan. Don't just create a goal and never create an action plan. Your action plan should include your overall goals that you're trying to meet and the steps that you're going to take to get there. Like I told you, on my video shooting days, I said I would be shooting at least five of these videos. Those are the steps that I took to ensure that I would achieve what I wanted to achieve. I wasn't afraid to put that in that place because creating an action plan activates your plans to be able to get to work, to be able to do something about it so that you're not just being emotional about it, but you're now being intentional by putting yourself out there to do the work. Number five, create a timeline. As part of your action line, create a timeline to set roles, tasks, milestones, and deadlines to achieve your goals. So create roles, tasks, milestones, and deadlines that will propel and give you a sense of urgency in which motivates you to stay on schedule and actually finish your goals. Number six, take action. Now that everything is planned out, it's time for you to get to work. Don't just take all that steps and don't do anything. Every step you take should lead to another until you finish your goals. Don't take one step and fold your hand. Actually begin to do things that will propel you to move. And then number seven, reevaluate and assess your progress. One thing I do is I do weekly evaluations. Was I able to achieve the things I said I would achieve? Was I able to do the things that I needed to do this week? How was I able to do them? Did I struggle with some tasks? Are there certain things I need to do that I need to give myself more time to do those things and all of that? These are questions that you can ask yourself, and only you have the answer to. However, you need to invest in putting in your best in achieving those goals. Your part is heavily required. Tell me your favorite part about setting goals and what you learned from it. I would love to read back from you. Bye for now, ladies. Love you.